African governments lose several millions to development partners through trade treaties every day. That is why these governments are being asked to urgently renegotiate treaties that restrict their tax rights. This was disclosed at the recently ended third IBFD tax forum in Accra.
Trade treaties seem a good start for most developing countries to have access to funds, foreign direct investments, and an export market for locally produced goods and services. From the Action Aid point of view, these benefits may only be superficial. According to the civil society group, governments in developing worlds, particularly Africa, lose millions of dollars from clauses in these treaties that tend to restrict their tax rights. For instance, Action Aid reports that Uganda lost millions of dollars because the country accepted not to tax certain earnings paid to owners of Ugandan corporations if the owners are residents in the Netherlands. A decade later, as much as half of Uganda's foreign investment is owned from the Netherlands. Action Aid is concerned the scale tips too deeply in favor of developed countries or the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development member countries. International Tax Campaign Manager with Action Aid, Xavier Emwabwa, tells GH1 Business low-income countries must reassess any treaty that restricts their rights to any kind of tax.
Some of the problems are simply because of our failure by our tax authorities to collect the little that is there. So maybe we need to improve the capacities of the revenue authorities. But some of the problems are more structural, they're more systemic because of the way the global tax rules are made. So, for example, when countries enter into these treaties, they're forced to give up some of the taxing rights. They reduce some of the taxes to even zero. And also because companies are sophisticated, they're big, they can hire accountants, they can also play around their books such that our revenue authorities can only see a small portion of the transactions. But as you know, most of these big companies, like oil companies, they work across borders and they can hire sophisticated lawyers, so they do tax planning. So part of that is to change the global system as well, to make it very difficult for companies to shift profits from our countries. One country alone can't stand. You and me know that there's so much strength in numbers. Africa's got 52 countries, we've got the mineral resources, we've got enough people. So if we come together, I think we've got the biggest clout.
But can the OECD countries be blamed for the lax nature of the systems existent in African countries? Can these countries be blamed for Africa's losses? After all, every investor looks for the best of opportunities. Professor Johan Hatting does not think so. He, however, believes African governments can renegotiate their treaties, albeit an uphill task.
There's nothing wrong with the intelligence of people in Africa. So people are skilled here, they have the capacity, they don't always have the confidence, but they absolutely, in the right environment, can negotiate a good deal, whether they're in government or wherever. So there's lots of initiatives, and that is the other point I'm trying to make, is to help governments and to help them upskill their people so that they can negotiate the best deals for their people. And I think it's more efficient if all the resources from the entire NGO sector, because it's enormous, the aid industry is enormous, if those resources are deployed to upskill people to negotiate better for Africa.